In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Magneto, one of my favorite tanks in Marvel Rivals right now, and how he's been dominating top 500 and tournament play recently. So first things first, Magneto actually has a pretty interesting animation cancel / one burst combo, like so. So the basic idea behind this is that you want to use your left click, so your auto attack, followed by a melee attack immediately afterwards so that you can cancel the recovery animation of that initial left click. And so this allows you to actually output fairly consistent damage even when you're up close without really having to aim. As you can see there, I could just kind of look at the ground and keep using this left click melee trick. And the full one burst streak is actually left click melee, right click, and then left click to finish them off. Alright, so let's talk about Magneto's ultimate now, which seems to not be very well understood. That circle is not really a range or anything like that. I feel like most people, when they start playing Magneto, they think that's the range of the ultimate. That's actually just his electromagnetic field. Anything that comes into that perimeter, outlined by the circle, gets absorbed, as you can see here. So he basically absorbs any and every projectile coming into that perimeter, and then you can just toss the ult, and it does a massive AoE burst. So this is effectively an offensive and defensive ultimate. It can absorb and counter ults like Star-Lord's, for example, as you can see here. So this allows you to conserve Magneto's ult as a counter to enemy ults. Here's that actually being done in pro play right now.
With the ultimate, they're going to be a counter Luna's ultimate on the set of rack attacks, but they've already lost the ultraviolet where light came in for the back.
Oh my god!
Holy Kobe Bryant from the sky! Fun takes him out of the...
Now let's go through some of the other interactions with this ultimate here and see what else it could counter. So here it is countering Iron Man's ultimate. Next, we're going to take a look at some healers. So Rocket Raccoon, his left click is entirely countered, of course, but so is the right click. So this effectively negates Rocket Raccoon's ability to heal his team entirely. Next, we have Mantis. You can absorb all of her left clicks, which means that if she's down her healing orbs, you can basically completely shut her down. It will also absorb Mantis's sleep, as you can see here. Let's do that slowly one more time because that's super fast. But basically you go up in the air, and if she tosses asleep and it goes within that electromagnetic field's perimeter, you will absorb it. So that will be negated also. It will also absorb Luna Snow's left click, as you can see here. It will not absorb Luna Snow's shift ability though, so do be careful of that. It will absorb Cloak and Dagger's left click, denying her heals as well. Now, as far as Groot ultimate goes, you could also just block it with shield, as you can see there, but of course the ultimate will absorb Groot's ultimate as well, so that will be cancelled and negated entirely. It will also absorb Hela's ult, so if Hela goes up in the air, you can just use this as a counter, and then when you come down, she'll still be an ult, but you could shield the rest. You could also bubble, so on and so forth. So this will allow you to survive through a Hela ult. It won't negate Doctor Strange's ult, but it will actually put you up in the air and you won't really get hit by it. So Magneto's ultimate is a really effective offensive and defensive tool. It allows you to zone people out, scare them, absorb all of their healing and damage output. One note though, Punisher can actually burst it. It will burst if it reaches 100 on the bottom gauge during the ult, so Punisher is really good at actually overloading Magneto's ultimate and just cancelling it basically. In any case, Magneto is really good at applying pressure. Target priority is obviously super important. He can be very effective at shutting down long-range heroes like Hawkeye or Hela, so on and so forth. Even Adam Warlock, as you can see here in the clip, I could just kind of zone him out. He can't really do much or contribute to the fight at all, in fact. So he's really effective at creating space, but also just playing the objective, right? You could just stick on the objective. He's hard to kill. You can cycle through your cooldowns, your shield, your bubble, so on and so forth. Now, we didn't really touch on the mag cannon, so Magneto's right click too much. This is a very effective way to actually reposition the enemy to your liking. So as you saw earlier on in this clip, I actually shot Adam Warlock back through the window so that I would break his line of sight with his own teammates, and also my teammates of course, so that he can't burst them down. Obviously, a good way to recharge the mag cannon is by using your bubble. You can use your bubble to protect teammates, but also yourself, as you can see here, from burst ultimates like Scarlet Witch's ultimate. And so it's kind of like a get out of jail free card for either you or your teammate. That being said, it is the same cooldown, so you have to manage it carefully. Now let's get into some of the counters here. Magneto actually is very effective at countering long-range heroes like Hawkeye, Hela, and Mantis. As we just talked about, his ultimate completely denies them, in fact, his shield, his bubble, so on. But he's very weak against melee heroes like Thor and Magic. The reason is because these go through his shield. They don't go through his bubble, but the cooldown on that is far longer than the cooldown on his shield, so they basically make his shield pretty useless. Now if we take a look at the stats on rivalstracker.com, Magneto actually has the 3rd highest win rate in tournament play. And I like looking at tournament play because I think that's the highest level of competitive play right now, and that most of the strategies we see in, for example, the Marvel Rivals Invitational Tournament are eventually going to trickle down to ranked play and just the general population of the game. So Magneto is very, very effective. In fact, he was played in pretty much all of the games, I want to say, in the Marvel Rivals Invitational. Most anyways, probably like 80-90% of the games had a Magneto in it. And that's because, again, he's very, very good at shutting down long-range heroes, and he's extremely good at even sort of being like an anti-heal alt. And so I'm not surprised at all to see his pick rate be pretty high. Of course, his team up is fairly weak right now, so Scarlet Witch is not considered to be a very high tier DPS character, and the team up with Scarlet Witch is actually really good for Magneto, but nobody picks Scarlet Witch, so unfortunately he can't be any higher, for example, like the Hulk, because the Hulk has the Iron Man team up and makes him so effective. Right now, Magneto doesn't really have any kind of team ups that make him sort of S tier, but he's a very, very solid tank. He's a very, very solid second tank, in other words, and he's super effective. The way you want to play him is really make use of natural cover. The reason is because you want to use your metal bulwarks, your shift ability, your big shield, followed by a right click into your bubble afterwards while your shield is still on cooldown. Once your bubble is broken, you get another right click because the damage you absorbed through the bubble. You can right click again and then go to natural cover. Now your shield is back too. You use your shield. By the time your shield is down, your bubble's back, so on and so forth. So you keep using natural cover wherever there isn't an overlap between the cooldowns of your shield and your bubble. And then that helps generate your right click, so your burst, and you can help reposition enemies to break their line of sight with their own teammates if they're healers, or you can break the line of sight between their DPS characters and your teammates, of course, to help your team win that fight. So that's basically it. The gist of it is this: Magneto is a fantastic tank. He's really good at shutting down long-range heroes and keeping your team safe. For example, if a Doctor Strange ultimate comes in, bubble the person that the Doctor Strange is trying to take out, and you can save them. Usually it's going to be your Mantis or your Luna Snow. Just bubble them after they get ulted. And then finally, Magneto is really good at bursting down support or DPS characters, as you saw. So the trick there is left click, cancel the recovery animation with your melee attack, into right click, into left click again, and then use your ultimate. Be conscious of the fact that anything that comes into the perimeter of that electromagnetic field will be absorbed, including heals. So it is a super good way to turn a fight, even if you don't get an elimination with it. So if this video was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. I also stream on Twitch almost every day, so twitch.tv/orkorg, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.